night is the Rangers Journal night.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Rangers Journal podcast. Again, I'm your host, Scott Mackay, and I'm delighted to be joined by my two stooges tonight. The same Tuesday show that was on last week. Pretty to say we're offering something different a wee Tuesday. Monday's a bit more serious, start-wise. Tuesday night, we come on, try and get a wee bit of a laugh, discuss the squad and go over various other aspects of the team. It's a wee bit more laid back on a Tuesday. So, Dean, how you doing, mate?
Very good, thank you, mate. How are you?
Aye, hanging together. Stu, how you getting on, pal?
Aye, not bad, mate. Just over my birthday weekend, so just riding the crest of a 2-day hangover. I tried to pull for 3 days. Aye, mate, getting old for it.
Heavy duty.
Aye,
So,
it was a heavy duty weekend.
This is a kind of probably the last episode of the kind of hit and miss series sticker twist. It's the same kind of idea to me. We'll do a wee bit of both tonight, where we'll go through all the midfielders and all the forwards, and we'll say whether they've been a hit for a signing or a miss of a signing, and then we'll kind of go on to whether you keep them or not. That'll be kind of a format for it if you boys are happy with that. So, first player I've got on my hit list is Todd Cantwell. For me, he's been a miss of a signing, probably quite controversial. But I would twist personally. I would sell him. Dean, what about you?
I would sell him too.
You'd sell him too. Has it been a good signing?
No, it's been very, very much kind of. I'm a bit deflated with him because I expected big things when he came in, and previously getting quoted to being £25 million and tipped to be the next big thing. Sort of, well, not the next big thing, but you know what I mean. Come to Rangers to revitalise his career, and then he turns up for about 10% of the games. But don't get me wrong, when he turns up for the games, he's best player on the park. But it just is not enough for me to want to have him as a permanent member of the squad going forward.
Stu, what about you?
He must be trolling you on social media or something. These are both out for him, man. I think he's been a hit. I think he's been a good player for his, like, he can look like I seen best player in the park and things like that. He's had man of the match awards. He's had match winning goals. Before he got his injury, what was it like? Is it 5 goals in 8 games?
Something like that. You've not been on Wiki night, no?
No, mate. Me and Big Wicks didn't have a chance to catch up with it. So, this is all just shooting it, mate. Just for 3 balls here. Loose stats. But I think he would keep him, and I think the reason that he's maybe what Dean was saying about you, maybe this been kind of underwhelming thing, is that I think his role in the team, and everybody's seen the kind of spats or the kind of way Clement's, been dealing with him. Like, I think Cantwell needs a little bit of that kind of freedom to roam. Obviously, Clement's got this is how we play, this is what we do, and maybe he's not got the same sort of patience or place in the team for somebody who wants to play with a bit of like freedom like that. Which he tended to flourish under for Beale for that reason, because Beale was very happy to let him to carry out that role, whereas Clement's very, I told you to do this, so why are you not doing it? So that's I feel that's kind of hampered him as well. Maybe it's his head's down a wee bit. I would still keep him, but whether he'd maybe is there a place for him as such? Maybe it's a different question, but just purely as a kind of player, I would keep him. I think he's been good.
So I'm going to ask a question on that, Stu. So just say we keep him, right, and he's just stagnates at the level that he's at, and it comes to next summer, and we can get less money for him. Is that the player trading model that we're aspiring to have? Then right now we could get a few million for him. Let's be honest, no much, but we could get more than what we paid for him. Next season, another year down on his contract, less of value, stagnated in and out the side. Same, has flashes of brilliance and wee purple patches here and there, but it comes to next summer and his value's even less. It's, we've probably got to look at players that are going to be. I reckon it's his highest value that he's going to be at this moment in time because of the levels he's been at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you. Did we not get him for free? Or did we get him for, was it
1.5 million or something?
1.5? Right, okay. Sorry, it was Kim Dow for Norwich for free, wasn't it? Sorry. I get what you're saying. Maybe we have, and certainly will be the case for a lot of the players on this list, probably held on to them too long, not cashing their chips and stuff like that. So maybe there's a part of that. I'm quite looking forward to, we've not spoke about him yet, but I think him and Hadji would push each other well. So I'd maybe like to see that, but again, it's hard to say because you make a good point. Do you gamble on him now, or do you, becoming an even better player, or do we cashing our chips on him? I'd personally say hold on to him because I'm saying he's a hit, but I suppose if you're saying he's a miss, you would obviously cash in on him.
Stu, I think you need to have a big juicy shush burger, mate. I think you forgot what this guy actually gets up to be honest with you. He's a shush burger, pal.
Shush burger?
Aye, as what Cantwell put on Instagram a week before a cup final. He done that with celebration at Hearts and then have a shush burger or something like that.
Right, sorry. I don't really get too into this. Well, I have not like Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and all that. I don't really get to all that. I'm about
TikTok. See you on all the time.
I've not got a TikTok. I'm of a more vintage generation than you two boys. I don't tick off talk.
I need to disagree with you, mate. I think he's been a messiah signing. He's been far too inconsistent. He's not turned up against Celtic. He's not produced in the big games. Although I think he done it maybe once in Europe in the group stages this season. I think he had a good game against Betis in the first match. I don't think he's Clement's type of player. I think he's a sellable asset, and due to the amount of rebuilding we need to do, I think he's got to be one that goes, to be honest with you. I don't know what you think of that.
You know, when it's an Old Firm game basically on his own as well.
Aye, a dead rubber at the end of last season.
There's no such thing as a dead rubber Old Firm game, let's be honest.
That was one. If there's ever a dead rubber, that is one, mate. He scored against them, aye, but it's not. This season was the time to kick on and do it, and he's not done it.
It's valid stuff, man. Valid stuff. I still see value in him. I still rate him, just based on what you'd seen. And I think the injury, as I said, hampered him, and it's not quite been the same since. And I think maybe the kind of clashing. He's now in a position where he's been asked to fill a role and play a way that he didn't come to Rangers to play. I mean, he came under Michael Beale going like, mate, you've got the keys to the park.
Aye.
You do your thing, you unlock this, and you've got the play what you want to play. Whereas what he's kind of been sold and what he's ended up in the remit is quite different. So I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe he should go because this wasn't the gig he gets sold anymore. But there you go. It's just some opinions, isn't it? Everybody's got one.
See, me, to be honest with you, Stu, Dean, I don't know what you think about this, but he's just another one where a report card saying can do better. Do you know what I mean? I think we've just you could say, is that down to the squad? Is it down to Clement's relationship with Cantwell? Is it? I don't know, but I just think he's one of these players that I expect Murphy, and he's underperformed too often this season. Dean, do you agree?
Aye, definitely. That's what I said. I expected far better things from him. So, I mean, there's loads of things that just need to be discussed on that in terms of on the pitch and off the pitch as well. So, and we sort of touched on leadership last week in our sales pitch pod, and you know you're wanting players like that to have the leadership, and just didn't think that he's got that within him. So relatively, maybe possibly quite weak as well. I mean, these sort of shushburger thing you just touched upon there, that kind of symbolises to me that he's quite weak-minded that he's got to feel the need to put that on his social media, in my opinion. So, aye. Thank you very much for your year and a half, but I wish you all the best. That's where I'm at.
For me, I was on a Yanis Hadji pod last night, and I think Hadji's better than Lawrence and Cantwell, if I'm being honest. But I think that's your number 10 sitting there waiting on you. Stu, you going to come in here?
No, I was just kind of agreeing in terms of some of the off the park stuff, or literally not quite off the park stuff, but I could do without one of the maybe marquee players really going square goal with our manager at the end of games, mind you.
Aye. Next one on the hit list is Robbie Matondo. Dean, I'll come to you first on him. Has he been a good signing, and would you keep him?
Other than his wonder goals against Hibs and Celtic, that's it for me. I've really struggled to get behind him, and I think a lot of the fans have got behind him. I was even shouting for him to be in the team consistently after he scored those goals. I feel that he fully deserved to get the starting berth, but he just seems to be a player that's better coming off the bench. And I mean, we need players that are going to be better in the starting 11 for us to be successful. So I think he's on quite a big wage. It cost us a few quid. So it probably does hold some value at this moment in time. And again, I don't think he would be getting an extension to his contract. So for me, we would have to look to probably see if there's buyers out there to cash in. But that's the big thing. If there is going to be buyers, given his injury record since he's been with us, that's probably going to be a bit to put potential buyers off. So is it one of them we look to see if we can recoup our money back, and or a season loan with like obligation to buy type deal?
So the Rangers that do loan deals with obligations to buy these days, man.
What are you saying, sorry?
So the Rangers that seem to do loan deals with obligations to buy.
There's a few there, but I know what you mean. Right, so I'm happy enough for him to leave this summer.
Stu, what about you, mate?
I'd say he is a miss overall. As I said, the best ability in any kind of player is availability, and he's not had that. He's had flashes of brilliance since he's been here. Some good goals, good runs. Sometimes he can impact the team. Is he overall? I mean, the short answer is he's been a miss. He's not been able to be relied upon. He was seen as quite a acquisition at the start, especially for the price we paid. Given that did he go from Man City to Schalke all the way about for like £9 million, €30 million at one point? So at one point, he's been a highly rated asset in football. He's been highly recognised for his ability, but at the end of the day, he hasn't been able to do it for us. So purely, he's got to be a miss.
I think for me, he's got to be a miss, and you need to sell him as well. I think if he could stay fit, he'd probably get enough ability to start off the bench. He's kind of nailed that role really well, just having an impact off the bench coming on the last 20 minutes. If that's something he would be happy with, which I don't think he would be. But for me, probably needs to get into the Championship, get into a Cardiff or something like that, because I just don't think it's worked for him. Next player, Stu, I'll come to you first. Kieran Dowell.
Big KD kidding me on, man. No, we touched on having the first hit on this, but we just probably looked at the Michael Beale signings. They're an absolute miss, man. He gives where's Waldo a run for his money, honestly. Like, where has he been? Is another reason, and I said this is why you shouldn't sign injured players, because it just never ever works out, man. Absolute miss. Waste of a jersey, waste of a wage.
Dino?
See, just quickly, I'm going to touch on what our man there said about Matondo being on 23 grand a week. That, in my opinion, that's an expensive sub. That's just wanted to. That's an expensive 23 grand a week. Jesus, peeps. So Kieran Dowell, I actually forget about him. So miss for me.
Aye, need to agree. Everybody in the comments is agreeing as well that I think he's fully off. Right, last but not least, Scott Wright. Right. I need to put some perspective on this guy, right? He's played in a Europa League final. Can't believe it. Scored against Hearts in the Scottish Cup final at Hampden. I can't take this seriously just now. He signed a free transfer. He's been a squad player. He's also been very inconsistent. He's been good on occasions, like against Hibs at Ibrox when he come on, he was decent, and then he does his usual, doesn't he turn up the following week against Celtic. Dean, what about
He's
you?
here for 55 as well. Yeah, he's completed a clean sweep of domestic honours in Scotland.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Wrong.
I mean,
Not so right.
I mind when I was in Seville and I was with my cousin. I can't even mind me saying this. He's like, European final and we've won fucking Scott Wright. Just kind of like everybody had the same sort of mindset. So unfortunately, I'd love to see Scott Wright leave. I've never seen a professional football player run into so many other players when they play a game of football. It's crazy. It's almost like he's never played professional football before, and he's blind. You know what I mean? So.
I take it you're selling him in, Dino.
What's that?
You selling him in? Are you getting rid? You're going to pay for his taxi at the airport if he needs it.
I'll drive him myself. I'll even take
I've seen your driving. I wouldn't recommend it.
I'll even take the child seat out so he can put his suitcase in there, Ken.
No, fair enough. Stu, what about you?
Well, I mean, I'd love to sell him, but I'd probably have to pay somebody to take him. It's been a miss. He's got flashes, like you said. His nickname he's like it's trending on Twitter at times. Scotty Hampden Wright. You know what I mean? So it hasn't worked out. He was probably signed as a squad player. I keep going on about this. I need to stop saying it, but he's somebody who's definitely benefited from coming through as a footballer in this country and being Scottish. He ticks boxes for us that we sorely need because we are lacking there. So he's done us a solid in the fact he's born here and he played football. But apart from that, it's a goal in a cup final. But he's got more winners' medals than you and us, Liz. So
exactly.
That's very true.
I miss in general.
Just another report card on me that states not good enough or can do better. In fact, Charles has brought in a very good point that we keep ignoring the Scottish market. There's Scottish teams out there that would take Scott Wright. Just saying.
I reckon he could go and actually play in a team and probably do quite well, but just playing for Rangers isn't for him. I mean...
Aye, you better go for Rangers.
Sell Dino to Nottingham Forest as Jack Butland for the Come Fund. Folk are saying you're looking like Jack Butland again. That's a
you'll take that, team. Take that.
I take it, aye.
Right. Next player. Tom Lawrence. Still come to you first. Would you, David? Tom Lawrence?
I think that's regrettably he's got to go down as a miss. It was under Gio's kind of lot. He came in and hit the ground running, man. Scoring for fun. He was one of the outside the box goal threats that we are sorely lacking still now. But after that long term injury, and then he came back for like 30 minutes and was out again for 9 months. He did that a couple of times. So just based on availability, he's been an absolute miss. And even when he's come back now, I don't know if he's trying too hard or he feels he's got something to prove, because he's not been as effective. But no, it's got to be a miss. I don't know how much his stock's rated at the moment, though. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if we'd really get anything for him. When's his contract up?
I think he's got 2 years left. I think it was a
1 year
4 year
left.
deal.
Right.
Is it 1 year? Is it 1 year?
left, aye.
Right. Well, I don't think we'd get very much from him, so he might stay. Just based on the fact we might not be able to get rid of him. Might provide cover, might provide competition for that 10 spot. But I don't know. I think he's a miss overall.
Fair enough. Dean, what about you?
As Stu said there, when he came, it was probably one of the better signings Gio got that summer. I think it's fair to say. And before he actually signed for Rangers, he never had an injury. Comes to Rangers, plays 10 games, no even, and he's out for a year plus. Comes back and he's half the player that he was. He's maybe played two good games, I would say, since he's returned from injury. That looked like, you know, he did before he got injured. But I think that injury is like just, you know, unfortunately, he's lost a few yards of pace. And I think you're right as well, Stu, maybe had something to prove. He came up to Rangers. Obviously, there was, you know, a lot of emphasis on being at Derby and, you know, and what he went through at Derby and things like that. So there was a lot of emphasis on him coming to Rangers to be a top player, and I think he really wanted it. I got that impression anyway, and now he's, as I said, I think he's lost a couple of yards of pace. So he's playing a lot deeper as well under Clement, wasn't he? And he's not got the legs for a box to box midfielder. So I think that played a part in his performances. But due to his age, a year left on his contract, you know, he's been played about 10% of games that he's been, you know, here for. So it's got to be a miss, hasn't it?
Aye, for me, definitely. Out of the 3 10s that we've got currently to come between Hadji, Cantwell and Lawrence, I'd be selling Lawrence. I think with Derby getting promoted back into the Championship, somebody's just said in the comments there that Rooney's at Plymouth now. He's Lawrence's former manager. There might be interest in him. JD says, as on Lawrence would be great, as we've all seen in flashes, but overall a miss. If nobody comes in for him in summer, hope Clement can build him up to give us something back. There's been another comment put in about Sobo. This is purely off topic, but he says he reckons we've got Dr. Nick Faye Simpkins doing the medical stuff.
Hey, everybody.
Aye. All right, one I've been dreading. Next one, the hit list is Cyril Dessers. Jesus. I'm just going to get us out of the road quickly, right? He's been a miss and we should sell him. Done. I'm not saying anything else on it. Dean, what about you?
I'll second that.
You'll second that. Right, so we've already beat Stu. He's going to come out with something controversial here. Right, Stu,
listen. Well, we covered him in like the siren one. So technically, we're looking at him, right? And 22 odd goals in all competitions, albeit it's an old Rangers standard where we expect that from the league, not in all competitions. We signed him to score goals. That is what he's done. I know, like, he's so frustrating. I'm screaming blood murder at TV.
Several misses. He hits and misses. That's some miss huddles. That is part of his class tonight. Sorry, Stu, what you saying?
Yeah, like, you know what, you can't disagree with any of that. He has been screaming blue murder at the screens every week, but there has been times in the season where goals per minutes on park, he's been the top performing striker in the Scottish Premiership. He's had that accolade a couple of times this season. I don't think he finished with it, but his first season he's achieved that. All right, mate, he's a brave. Will you finishing your roasting us in the comments? Well, do you know? Aye, all right. I'll see him later, right? when you think about when Alfredo Morelos came to the club as well, who's arguably been our best striker in recent years, he didn't score 22 goals in all competitions his first year at the club. Morelos built up to that over the first two seasons to really hit his peak form. Dessers outperformed him in his debut season. There's room for improvement with him, I'm not lie, right? But I would say debut season, new club, new country, 22 goals on competitions. He scrapes a hit for me just with the amount that he's missed and how wasteful he is. There we go. I believe with Toon Cripps knows what he's talking about. He's listening. He's looking at stats. I'd say he's got to be a hit. Like where did the rest of the goals come from? I know Tav scored a barrel as usual, but Dessers chipped in with a casual 22.
He did Stu, aye, but it's
Done his job. Almost.
Aye, essentially he's done his job, aye, but it's the $4.5 million we paid from. It's the amount of wages he's on. All of that for him to be a squad player next season, because I want Rangers to go out and buy some proper firepower this summer. I want us to go out and buy somebody that's just going to stick a ball in the back of the net, touch, shoot. Dessers would like, I don't know if he chops his vegetables up with his feet at night, because he's just constantly chopping inside, chopping outside. He just chops instead of just taking a touch and shoot. He's got to walk it into the net constantly, isn't he? And that's where the frustration comes for me. I just think he's too big an outlay for what we've seen him.
Also, my counter argument to him being a squad player. So go back to when we had Defoe. Defoe was a squad player, right? Came off the bench, whatnot. But Defoe was clinical now. Defoe was a world-class striker back in his day. But I mean, in terms of us having a player coming off the bench, Defoe didn't miss more big chances than he scored goals. If we're going to be needing somebody coming off the bench, we're going to have numbers than that, because we're going to be reliant on that person coming off the bench to get us a goal. And you're not even sure that Dessers can get you a goal if he's playing 90 minutes consistently. So that for me is one of the reasons why I don't even think he should be a squad player, because we want to be having players who are actually going to be capable of coming off the bench and getting us a goal if we need it. And again, like what Defoe did, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just think we would have been in such worse shape without him, though. With Lammers misfiring on all fronts, Danilo injured for, again, most of his debut season. So it could have been a lot worse, man. He's done his... I keep wanting to say done his good and stuff like that, but I'm not saying that I'm blind to the flaws, the misses, the goals he could have had, the games he could have won us. But there's times where you're at the screen, you're like, oh, Dessers, man, in the next minute, oh, he just scored there. How many times did that happen throughout the season as well? You're sitting there like, get him! All right, he's just scored. Right, keep him on.
Aye, definitely, mate. Definitely. It's... Do you know what? You're right. We would have been in such a worse place without him, but see, well, now we've got the chance to fix it. While the transfer window's opening, we're clearly going to be doing some sort of rebuild. There's going to need to be a forward that comes in for Roof. We'll stay with the striking department just now. I know we spoke about Danilo before, Stu, but we've not really touched upon it with Dean. We'll stick with him again. Dean, what's your thoughts on Danilo? Obviously, he's had a bad cheekbone injury and he's had a bad knee injury this season. I don't think it's not a kind of similar injury to Simon Cortez where it's been hamstring, or he's not similar to Ridvan where his body's broken down again. Like, what would you do with Danilo next season? Would you keep him or?
Definitely.
Aye.
Keep him. He's also a lot younger than Dessers. He therefore holds more value going forward. He looks far more clinical, and given sort of the reports that I read from the Netherlands, I would definitely be keeping him. And I do think Danilo is somebody that will be fighting for the number one centre forward shirt with whomever it is that we hope that we sign in the summer. So yeah, I'd definitely be keeping him. Unfortunately, those injuries have been dreadful for him obviously, and for us, because we really wanting. But I think we paid, was it 5 million for him?
And we could change it to 6.
Was it? Aye. So there you go. So that's a large outlay, and it'd be unfair to probably judge him a hit or a miss because of those injuries. Like you said, there were, accidents, to be fair, if that's that the way you be putting it, and he's not just been running down the wing and his hamstring snapped, or it's hopefully he can come back and hit the ground running.
Stu, what about you?
I think I'm just yin and yanging you two, like the pure other side of the coin for everything tonight.
Mate, that's what the whole point of this pod is.
So we're saying, so you are saying Dessers is an overall miss, although he's been available, scored his 22 goals. But Danilo's a hit because but he's not. I know you're saying he didn't get himself injured, but he's not played. He's not been available to play. But I don't know. So for me, at the moment, he's probably a miss. I know that he did come in and replace Dessers, and he looked like he was doing better. Got the cheek injury, came back as a Maska Zorro, started playing again. It didn't quite look as good at that point. And then he get dropped. Did he get dropped for Dessers again before he got a bad injury? So I don't know if you could say he's a hit. I'd probably say he's a miss at this point. But on the other side of that, I probably would keep him purely for the outlay. We won't get the money back because you can't base you've not got any performances really to sell him based on. So we'd be out of money getting rid of him at this point. We probably want to keep some strikers at the club, so there are other options. I think we should strengthen without losing strikers, preferably. I don't think I can see he's a hit at the moment, just based on what he's contributed up to this point. But that's not to say that he won't turn that around next season, maybe.
Stu, see where I've got you. I've left Abdallah Sima because he can't technically come on and played as a striker. I think he can play anywhere across the front three. Would you be spending the money considering his hamstring injury to bring him in and keep him at Rangers?
Well, I think he's looked good after he came back. I don't know. Depends, because this rumoured. There's not been an awful lot of transparency on what it would take to get him. People talk about him going to Brighton for 8 million and us potentially having to spend that to get him. Mm-hmm. I don't think 8 million's getting spent. I think that kind of closes the conversation down, unfortunately. I think he would continue to thrive here. I think he's been a hit for us. I'd be very surprised if we got him. If we could get him, I would get him.
Dino, what about you, mate? What would you do with Sima?
I'm going to echo what Stu said there about the outlay. If we won the league and qualified for the Champions League and we had that money, then it would have been a different conversation. But I think because he has been a hit, and I think as a fan, we all love to hear players saying, I feel at home here, I love playing here, things like that. The sort of sound bites that we all love, isn't it? So I guess you can always think, if he plays for the club, he's going to give everything and that's what we want and blah, 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 blah. However, us not qualifying for the Champions League and the rebuild that we need, that outlay is massive. 7-8 million. It's quite, just hypothetically say that's the case, we could get 2-3 players in the first team for that's going to improve our first team. We've got to look at it as rationally like that. As I said, if we qualify for the Champions League, I don't know, what's it, 30, I'm sure I read the other day, but because of our coefficient, we would have got, or we can potentially get 33 million just for being in the group stage. Mm-hmm. So if we had that money, then I would all day long I'd be banging the drum for us to sign him, and just the sheer optimism that we can get to the bottom of players' fitness, and he can be fit for 70-80% of the games going going forward next season. So, and it's like you said, Scotty can play across anywhere, the front three, and you wouldn't have any quarrels about in any one of those positions, because you know that he's going to, you know, assist or get a goal or have a part to play at least.
Aye, definitely. I'm going to, before we kind of go on a bit, we'll kind of touch upon Ross McCausland in a wee minute, but there's been kind of questions in the comments about, so if you get, say, 5 million for Sam Lammers, people are starting to come on and say about Majowski. For Aberdeen, personally, I think Aberdeen are going to want upwards of 8 million for him, just by what's been said in the press and stuff like that. But still, come to you, right? You'll remember when, back in the day, when we sold John Allan Boomsong to Newcastle for 8 million quid, and we brought in the likes of Satiris, Kyriakos and Tam Buffel. I think that was the season the helicopter Sunday happened, right? So, say in imagination land, you're able to get 5-6 million for Lammers, right? Which I don't think is out with the question. Say you're able to get that, would you prefer the money getting spent on Seema, or would you prefer it? How would you want to see that money getting spent?
Pressure here. I think I'd maybe like to see it getting spent on maybe a couple of players. I kind of like what Clermont's done so far, albeit he's had to kind of think outside the box and do like season-long loans with obligations to buy. I like the kind of player they brought in with Diomande. I like what he's brought in with Cortez. We're talking about, you know, they're 4 million a piece. So I think if we're going to be bringing in quality players for maybe 3-4 millions, if we're getting a couple of players instead of just the one, and we're talking about, was something that I've looked at the other day. They're talking about 14 exits this season with 11 players to come in. It kind of feels like a luxury that we shouldn't be paying for. Do you know what I mean? Although it would improve the squad, but the money we'll pay for him, we could potentially get maybe 2-3 decent quality players. So I of course you'd want him in the team, but it just feels like it's a luxury that we could be spending better. Do you know what I mean? Getting more for our money.
Right. Diversify your money, basically, and go out and get. Dean, what about you? Have you got a certain approach that you would take to it?
I'd just pretty much just what I said and what Stu said there. It's just a case of we just have to, you know, shop a lot more wisely than we have over the last few years. I mean, geezy peeps, how many times are we going to have it that we're like spending millions on players and that are just like when it could be better spent? It's just bad mismanagement over the last few years. So we're now at a state of like anxiety and sheer apprehension as fans because there's like zero room for failure now, because we've just had so much failure over the years. So you just want whoever's making the decisions to make the right decision, because we're going to be on their back, but we don't want to be. We want to be the complete opposite and be full of appraisal of the decisions that they're making. And I personally think it'd be a bad decision spending all that money on one player. He will get us 20 goals and 10 assists. I've got no qualms about that at all. But there is players out there that I think that you'd be able to get for half that would be able to have the same outlay, back for what we're spending.
Aye, definitely, mate. Definitely. We'll do the next two players fairly quickly. Ross McCausland, I would probably just sum it up and say he's going to be a squad player next season. Dean, how about you?
Aye, a very important squad player in my opinion. I think somebody that will be driving the person in front of him to be the best that they can be, because Ross has proved that he can come in and do a job. There was a lot of responsibility placed upon him quite quickly, and us as Rangers fans can be particularly fickle at times. And we were on, and there was players on his back. He's this, that, and the next thing. And I mean, at the end of the day, he had never played in the first team. He'd only trained, I think it's 5 times. I think that's quite known, isn't it? So he came in and he's been absolutely brilliant for me. And understand that there's probably parts to his game that he can improve on, and defensively, ball watching, things like that. But I mean, that's going to come. He's a young lad. He's going to get, the right training, the right coaching to improve in these departments of his game that need improved on. But whoever's it is that's going to be, they're going to know that they're going to be getting challenged for the right wing berth, in my opinion.
Stu, what about you?
I would say he's a hit. Don't see enough of it. The Cadbury players coming through, getting into the first team, taking their chance and making the jersey theirs. Perhaps Clement was forced into using him. I don't think he's really let Clement down overall. Like you said, there's parts to his game that he needs to improve, and I'm sure that there will improve as time goes on. He gets more game time, he learns and develops more just through playing. But I say he's been a hit. I'd say he deserves to be a first team player. He'll stay a first team player. Like you said, he'll not be giving that jersey up easily. Obviously, a preferred signing might come in, but that just gives him the incentive and the motivation to drive on and be sure he stays in the team. And you know what? We need 2 players at least in every position. So it's been a hit. I think he'll improve, still get better, and he'll be more than just a squad signing. As like Dino says, I think he'll be an important part of the squad.
Aye, definitely, lads. I think I've just typed in his stats there really quickly. In 29 games for Rangers overall, 7 goal contributions. Now, see, for a youth player in his first season, that's not really something to be. We can't really whack at, can we? The only way is up, to be honest.
I mean, that's actually quite a good return, given he only became part of the squad at the turn of the year, was it? So, I mean, pretty much the second half of the season, wasn't it? That's actually quite a good return.
Aye.
Scored in Europe as well against Limassol, I think.
He did, aye.
Against them.
Not only just that, he'll be accruing more experience as part of the Northern Ireland squad as well now. Which will really benefit him. So, I think he's been a hit, and I look forward to seeing what comes next for him at Rangers.
Hopefully, with the pre-season, Clement's got him in kind of bulking up in the gym a wee bit. I think Clement likes him mostly because he's a runner. He's tracking back and he works hard and he's fast. Clement likes kind of fast players. I just want to ask your opinions on this. Isn't it really about stick or twist or hit or miss? But Dean, what kind of role can you see Cole McKinnon and Zach Lovelace having next season? Zach Lovelace they're both coming into last year with their deal. Can you see them coming in and being squad fillers next season?
Definitely be part of the squad. I think we've banged the drum for a long time about bridging this gap that's here for the B team players becoming first team players. They're both at an age, I think, as well, where they need to be being exposed to first team football. And I think, like we've discussed many a times, that it was frustrating this season gone past when there was maybe games that were won and they weren't getting the youth players weren't getting much game time. I think I'm optimistic. I think that Clement will change that going forward, and players like Lovelace and Cole McKinnon, I think they're probably going to be the two that are going to be the ones probably getting game time here and there for me. And with them got a year left on their deals, they have to I reckon be playing to earn a new deal. And this vicious circle that we have of young players just leaving for free, even if it's rubbish. It has to end, even if they're not good enough, right? Good enough to play to be the Rangers first team squad. We still want to be looking to sell these players on for some sort of monetary value. I mean, every year is just a massive exodus of players who are leaving for free that are aged between 18 and 22 or something every year, and it's like, why can't we have these players, at least selling for something?
Aye, definitely. For me, Zach Lovelace could be one of 4 wingers next season that we're going to have. Like Lovelace, Cortez, McCausland on the other side, and then another established winger. Bring another established winger in either on loan, whether it's Seema or whether it's somebody else. And I think you've got a kind of good basis there if Lovelace can kind of sort out his injury issues. His hamstrings went away as well. And then with Cole McKinnon, if we're not going to sign another kind of Scottish central midfielder, I would quite like to see Cole McKinnon coming in Ryan Jack's place, taking up a squad player for Ryan Jack. It's the only way we're going to be able to feed these players into the squad and get them minutes and develop them. Stu, you get any points on him too?
Cole McKinnon, I think it's the kind of usual story, like Dean was saying. Want to see more of him, maybe give him the same opportunity that Ross McCausland was been given. With Zach Lovelace, I think it's a little bit more different because we actually paid a fee for him to bring him for Millwall. So we probably want to see some sort of return on that, other than putting our medical staff through their paces.
Aye.
I think he really needs to come back to the first team for training. Maybe give him a short run in the B team again, because obviously he was flourishing there. He was playing well. He got his move to the first team from performances there. My dog's been weird. We need to see something from Zach Lovelace, because unlike a lot of younger players, we paid a bigger fee for him, especially for a youth player coming in. I was surprised that did we pay $1.5 million for him?
I thought that's what went through my head. Like that was going through my head there. I think it was
a free contract. I think it was a cross-border kind of thing, because it was all come over when he was 16. So
right.
We've given Millwall compensation. It was definitely a freebie, but there will have been some kind of developmental fee.
All right. I still think for the fee that we paid though, because I feel it was substantial for a fee. I can't remember. I didn't have time to do much research tonight, but we definitely need to see something back from him. And I think there's a player in there. He was playing for them, the 16-year-old Millwall. So I think he's certainly got the ability to do it up here, and I think he just needs a chance.
Aye, definitely. If you guys again, you kind of want to talk about, or we'll just wrap up the pod. Anything on your mind, or
right? See, the exodus of like maybe 5 or 6 players we had there, and we've seen all the highlight videos getting put out on YouTube by the club and everything like that, good times and stuff. It does kind of highlight how much those players actually were good servants for us. They just stayed too long, I think, because I was watching them with pure nostalgia, like, oh, Ryan Jack, don't go, Jacko. But it was time for him to go as well.
I know. I think for me, a club not putting out a highlight reel for John McLaughlin was quite poor. I know folk are probably going to come at me and say, well, what saves did he make? But he did play, I think it was the beginning of the 55 season. Gerrard was rotating the keepers for the first 6 matches. We never conceded a goal for X amount of games. He's played in cup semi-finals. He was just never made a noise at the club in terms of complaining. Like, I think it was a wee bit poor, if I'm being honest, that he didn't get something, like not even an individual thank you. Like everybody else get one, but he didn't. I don't know what he's done, to be honest, but aye. Could do better, Rangers. Dean, you get anything you want to speak about before we wrap up?
No, I think pretty much said everything that needs to be said tonight.
Fair enough. Cammy, thank you for gifting a membership. Just to let you all know that we're not really doing anything with the YouTube memberships just now. We're just putting out free content Monday to Friday for as much as we can, for as long as we can, until I run out of ideas. Once I run out of ideas, then we'll probably get back to the kind of Monday, Wednesday, Friday again. But while it's pre-season, there's other stuff we can talk about. Dean, do you just want to say thank you to the viewers and say your goodbyes, mate?
Aye, thanks very much for tuning in, everybody. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel and help us on our way to 2,000 subscribers.
Fair enough. Cheers, pal. Stu?
Hit the like, guys. Don't know what that means.
It means you hit a like button in a video.
Like and subscribe and all that. Like and subscribe.
You're awesome, man, honestly.
All about this YouTube stuff, man. Love it.
Wait, you get whiskey taste around underneath your name for?
Is that you just noticing it?
Jesus. Wet, man, honestly.
Do you know why you said taster? Because I couldn't spell connoisseur.
Oh, you're so basic. I love it, mate. I love it. Right, so everybody tune in tomorrow night. We'll be back at 7:30, and we're going to talk about the fan club synergy that Clement spoke about. We'll get through a wee bit of the mentality that he instilled in the team, kind of when he first came in and we were scoring the last minute winners. We went on a wee bit of a run. We'll kind of touch upon that. Look ahead to next season. Apart from that, like the boys have said, like, subscribe. Thank you, Roy Models, for keeping the chat clean. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and remember, every night is Rangers Journal night.